Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Genesis, the 35th chapter. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from before the face of Esau thy brother. So that same place where Jacob went and he had a stone, as his pillow. He had a dream about the ladder, and then he rose up and made a pile, and then basically, I think he anointed the pile or so. But that's that same area where the Most High appeared to him. The Lord tells him again now to go back there. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean. And because remember, his wives, they came from an idolatrous family, right? And so Jacob basically told him here, put away those idols and all of those things, and purify yourself, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And you see here how the way, yes, the Most High, he came to Abraham, right? He came to Isaac, came to Jacob, he dealt with them. But you can see here why it is that the Lord said, when we get to the book of Exodus, to Moses, that by his name was he not known, okay, by them or among them. And what that means is he wasn't well acquainted, right? Or they weren't well acquainted with him. They knew who he was as the God of their fathers, right? And the Lord, you can see here, they had a relationship with him, but the closeness or intimacy in terms of knowledge and acquaintance between us and the Lord, really magnified more during that time when we made a covenant with him. Okay. Let's see. Verse 35, or verse 3 again. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. That is, when he fled to Padan Aram to Laban. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, i.e., their idols, and all their earrings which were in their ears. Now, the reason for this was that the earrings here weren't just like for fashion. In the ancient Near East practices, earrings were also, used as like charms, or certain lacking the word here, but it was like certain attributes that were also part of idol worshiping. And so he basically, they gave him all of that, and Jacob hid them under the oak, which was by Shechem. So he basically dug up and buried them over there. Obviously, he didn't cut down a tree. He just, right next to it somewhere, he just dug up into the ground and then buried them there. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So the Lord put his fear upon them. Why? Because remember, they had slain that city, basically, with Hamor and Shechem. And so the Lord had it to where Jacob's fear didn't manifest, in that the cities round about weren't able to come and attack them or take revenge, because the Lord had put his terror upon them. So Jacob came to Luz, which was what Bethel was called in past time, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, which in the Hebrew is Bayath Allah, right, or house of God, because the El here in the Hebrew is Allah, or God. and then the Bethel is Bethel, but it's really here, or yeah, Bayath Allah, which the word Bayath is house, as you can see here. Bayath, right, house, dwelling, home, and then Allah. It says, because there God appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Alon Bakuth. And beneath an oak, beneath Bethel, doesn't mean that, once again, they didn't uproot a tree and bury her under there. It was on a lower land. Like here, it says it in the NLT. So after this, Rebekah's old nurse, Deborah, died. She was buried beneath the oak tree in the valley below Bethel. Ever since the tree has been called Alon Bakuth, which means oak of weeping. And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And this was pretty much the same blessing that the angel had blessed Jacob with, the angel that he had wrestled with, that is. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee. Yeah, and that's the the children of Israel, right? In which, even as the scriptures say, it's in the book of Isaiah that one eventually, right, we're going to populate so much that one shall become as a nation. That's why it mentions a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins, which we end up seeing, right? Even during the reign of, King Saul, King Solomon, King David, and all the kings after, and in ultimately the kings that would reign in the kingdom of heaven. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land, being the land of Canaan. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stones. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him Bethel. And typically, like erecting a pillar and so on was like, once again, a monument, a remembrance, right? And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath, Ephrath being Bethlehem, and but a little way meaning there was still some distance between them and Bethlehem. And Rachel travailed, so she ended up going into labor, and she had hard labor, so it was intense, and likely very painful. And it came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said unto her, Fear not. And the midwives were, the ones that would help you deliver the baby. Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. So don't fear, right? You're going to be able to have this child, and it's going to be a son. And it's interesting because when remember, she had for Jacob, Rachel bare two sons, Joseph and Benjamin. And when she had Joseph, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh, she said, the Lord will add to her another son. Okay, and lo and behold, here you go. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called his name Benjamin, because that name Benoni means what is it? Son of my sorrow, or son of sorrow. Just go into that real quick. Ban Awanya, son of my sorrow. And so you have the ban, which means son, and Awan, trouble, wicked, sorrow. And but as it says here, Jacob ended up calling him Benjamin, which is Banyamyan, or son of the right. And that was a good call, because typically it was like nomen omen, and you didn't want that to be, you don't want your son to be basically called that, lest he actually bring sorrow upon you in his old age. And Rachel died and was buried in the way of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. So basically on their way to Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave on to this day. And Israel journeyed. So you'll see here that Jacob's name now starts to be used, right? Israel and Jacob are used interchangeably when referring to Jacob. And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Edar. And it came to pass when Israel dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. So I believe she was the handmaid of Rachel. But one thing led to another, and basically Reuben ends up popping his father's concubine. And Israel heard of it, meaning the word got to Jacob or Israel. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. Now when we went through the book of Chronicles, First Chronicles, it mentions in there it was because of this that Reuben lost that right of the firstborn. And I believe instead it went to Joseph. That's why it mentions it says it is not reckoned after in the genealogy, because even though technically Reuben was the firstborn, he lost that sort of right to it because he did this. It was stripped from him. Verse 23. The sons of Leah, hold on. It says, now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is in Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. So Isaac lived to be 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And being full of days is a way of saying he lived a full life. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. And that brings us to the end of the book of Genesis, the 35th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.